Welcome to the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast. I'm your host, Gwendolyn Mitchell, founder and CEO of Moyo Institute and lifelong spiritual seeker and energy worker. Here for thoughtful conversations about health, healing, and happiness by, for, and about Black and African American women. Disclaimer, the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast does not provide medical advice. The opinions, experiences, and insights shared are for informational purposes only. Nothing shared in this podcast is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. Don't disregard or delay seeking it because of what you've heard on this podcast. Thank you. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Love Letters to Our Bodies. I'm Gwendolyn, your host, coming to you from the Moyo Institute here in the Bay Area. Today's episode is something truly special and a bit different from our usual format. As many of you know, this podcast is rooted in exploring healing approaches that honor the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. We typically sit down with practitioners, survivors, and advocates to have intimate, heart-centered conversations about wellness and healing. But today, we're bringing you something that's so groundbreaking, so full of hope, that I wanted to make sure our community heard about it in a clear, accessible way. So we've prepared a special 2-part conversational episode exploring Histotripsy, a revolutionary new FDA-approved treatment for liver cancer that uses sound waves to destroy tumors without surgery, without radiation, or incisions. I know that might sound like science fiction, but it's real. It's happening now. And it represents a beautiful intersection of cutting-edge technology and the body's own healing wisdom. For those of you navigating cancer journeys or supporting loved ones who are, this could open doors you didn't know existed. This conversation will walk us through what Histotripsy is, how it works, who can benefit from it, and perhaps most exciting, something called the abscopal effect, where treating one tumor can actually help your immune system fight cancer throughout your entire body. It's a reminder that our bodies possess remarkable intelligence when given the right support. In this first part, we'll explore the fundamentals of this treatment and the hope it offers. Then in part 2, which will air in just a few days, we'll dive deeper into how Histotripsy differs from radiation therapy and share information about where you can access this treatment, including right here in California. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's explore this new frontier in cancer together. I believe in sharing information that empowers us to make informed decisions about our health, and today's conversation is exactly that. A love letter to possibility, to hope, and to the healing that's available when innovation meets compassion. Let's begin.
Imagine for a moment treating cancer with a technology that's as gentle as an ultrasound. You know, the kind you used to see a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, no cutting, no intense radiation hitting your whole system, and almost no recovery time, just sound waves.
Right.
What if that level of minimal invasiveness could actually lead to maximal, maybe even systemic impact?
That is exactly the question we are deep diving into today. This is, and I don't say this lightly, one of the most exciting innovations in cancer therapy I've seen in a long, long time.
It's called Histotripsy.
Histotripsy. It's pronounced Histotripsy. And it's a revolutionary, non-invasive technology that's already FDA approved and is, well, it's really starting to transform how doctors can approach liver cancer. It offers options where, honestly, there might not have been any before.
Okay, so let's really unpack this. It sounds game-changing. Our sources today include clinical data from the #HopeForLiver trials and also some really insightful material from groups like the Moyo Institute.
Oh, they're a fantastic nonprofit.
They are. They support women navigating cancer, and they have this beautiful way of describing the technology. They call it a sonic sculptor. And that phrase just really stuck with me.
It's a perfect description, but before we get any deeper, we absolutely have to put a big flag on the disclaimer from all our sources.
Yes.
This deep dive is for informational purposes only. It is not, under any circumstances, medical advice. You have to talk to qualified healthcare professionals for your own situation.
And another critical point.
Yeah.
Right now, as of today, Histotripsy is only FDA approved for liver tumors.
That's it.
That's the boundary for now. Research is moving fast, but that's the clinical reality.
Okay.
So our mission today is to get our heads around how this sonic sculptor actually works, look at the clinical success from the trials, which is pretty surprising. And then, this is the most fascinating part to me, explore how it might unlock the body's own immune system to fight cancer everywhere. Let's start right there at the fundamental level, the mechanics. I mean, for most of us, sound waves are for music or, an ultrasound scan. How does that same basic idea become a demolition tool that can shatter a tumor without just burning it?
What's so fascinating is that the process is purely mechanical. It completely bypasses heat, it bypasses radiation, all the things that cause so many side effects.
Right.
Histotripsy uses these focused, high-intensity ultrasound waves, but, and this is the key, they're delivered in these tiny microsecond-long pulses. They're not sustained vibrations meant to create warmth. They're kinetic bursts. They're designed for demolition.
So the physics here is kind of tricky. Is it just the power of the sound wave itself, or is there something else doing the heavy lifting? How do you get from sound to destruction without any heat?
That is the key differentiator. The sound waves create a physical phenomenon called cavitation.
Cavitation.
Right. So think of it like this. The sound waves are rapidly creating these tiny microscopic gas pockets. We call it a bubble cloud right inside the tumor tissue.
A bubble cloud? That sounds pretty harmless. So where's the force coming from?
The force comes from the incredibly violent action of those bubbles. Once they're formed, they immediately and rapidly expand and then just collapse. And that collapse generates this intense, localized mechanical stress. I mean, powerful shock waves that literally break apart the cancer cells. It's like setting off millions of microscopic sonic charges inside the tumor, all focused on one tiny spot.
That really explains the whole sonic sculptor idea. It's not messy, it sounds incredibly targeted, but wait, if that force is so intense, how does it know to only target the tumor? How do you avoid collateral damage to the healthy liver tissue right next door?
That is a great question. And it really speaks to the, 20 years of development at the University of Michigan that went into this. Because the pulses are so short, these are microsecond bursts, the focal zone is just exquisitely sharp. Unlike heat, which can kind of bleed out and create fuzzy edges, this mechanical destruction gives you these extremely well-defined boundaries. And once the cells are destroyed, all that's left is this liquid slurry.
A slurry. So what happens to that? Does the body need help cleaning it up?
Not at all. And that's the final beautiful step, natural cleanup. The body's own waste disposal system, the immune system, the liver itself, it just absorbs and removes this debris over the next few days and weeks. No scar tissue, no damaged edges left behind.
And we should be clear, this isn't some far-off science fiction. This is here. The device, the Edison system by Histosonics, got full FDA approval back in October 2023. This is ready for prime time.
And the experience for the patient, it's just transformative compared to traditional oncology. The person just lies there comfortably, often in an outpatient clinic.
Yeah.
A specialized ultrasound device and a robotic arm deliver the therapy, and the physician guides it all using real-time imaging, just like a regular ultrasound.
So walk us through those 5 steps. It sounds unbelievably quick.
It is. First, the doctor establishes targeting, mapping the tumor with millimeter precision. Then comes the sound wave delivery, those microsecond bursts.
Right.
That immediately causes the bubble cloud formation, which is followed by the rapid mechanical destruction of the cells. And the last step, like we said, is the natural cleanup that the body just handles.
5 to 30 minutes. That is just an astonishing timeline. I mean, when you compare that to hours of surgery under general anesthesia, weeks of recovery, what does that do for a patient's quality of life?
It's a huge psychological win. The Moyo Institute materials really emphasize this. The whole thing takes maybe 5 to 30 minutes, depending on the tumor.
Wow.
Most people go home the same day. And they often say it felt like nothing really intense happened. For someone already battling cancer, just keeping some sense of normalcy and avoiding the trauma of major surgeries, it's profound.
So given how easy and precise this is, Who can get it right now? What are the limits on that FDA approval?
Right now, it is strictly for liver tumors. So that covers primary liver cancer, hepatocellular carcinoma, and also metastatic liver tumors.
Which is cancer that is spread from somewhere else, like the colon or breast.
Exactly. And also neuroendocrine tumors in the liver.
That really expands the scope of who could be helped, especially for people with that really hard to treat metastatic disease. This seems like a vital new option for patients where surgery might just be too risky.
That's it. This is a game changer for people who just aren't candidates for major surgery, maybe because of other health issues, or they just can't tolerate really invasive procedures. And if a tumor is in a spot that's really hard to get to surgically, this offers a whole new pathway.
But if we're talking about the physics of it, are there technical limits? I mean, sound waves, for all their power, can be blocked, right?
This brings up a really important practical point. Histotripsy relies on ultrasound, and those waves just cannot get through dense barriers. They can't penetrate bone or large pockets of gas. So the crucial physical limitation right now is the rib cage.
So the ribs basically create a shadow. They block the signal.
Precisely. And it's a significant problem. An estimated 70 to 80% of the liver is actually covered by the rib cage.
Wow, that much?
Yeah. So for now, eligible tumors have to be in those accessible areas, below the ribs or in these small acoustic windows between them. It's a technical boundary doctors have to respect, and it's definitely an area where the technology will need to innovate next.
That makes total sense. Okay, let's shift from the how to the how well, the results. The data from the hashtag Hope for Liver trials, this was a big study, 14 centers across the US, the UK, and Europe. It's really compelling. What stands out to you on precision and control?
What's fascinating is the sheer consistency. Across all those different centers, physicians hit a 95.5% technical success rate.
95.5.
Which means in nearly every single case, they were able to precisely target and destroy the exact volume of cancer tissue they planned to. That level of verifiable, non-invasive control is, it's critical in oncology.
And what about long term? How well does it keep the local cancer from coming back?
The Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast is sponsored by Moyo Institute Incorporated, a nonprofit organization offering heart-centered educational experiences, and the Lloyd Symington Foundation, which supports visionary grassroots cancer programs.
The results there are strong. The local tumor control rate at 12 months was an impressive 90%. And what's more, for patients who are using histotripsy to downstage.
Meaning shrink the tumor to make other treatments possible.
Exactly. Or for bridging to transplant. For those patients, 87.5% showed no growth of the treated tumor in the first 3 months. That's very solid data.
And the safety profile, it seems almost too good to be true compared to what we're used to hearing.
The safety data is excellent. Only 1% of patients had major complications within 30 days. And even then, the doctors attributed those few issues to the patient's underlying disease, not the procedure itself.
Right.
Side effects were minimal. Some people reported a mild temporary malaise, but nothing. Nothing like the debilitating effects of aggressive chemo or radiation.
And that minimal impact opens up so much hope, especially for people who were told they weren't eligible for standard treatments. Can you tell us more about those outcomes?
This is where it gets really powerful. The trials included patients who had either run out of options or just couldn't tolerate surgery. And for several of them, the results were life-changing. 3 patients were successfully downstaged. Their tumor shrank enough that they became eligible for liver surgery.
And you mentioned transplants.
Absolutely. 5 patients who had been ineligible for a liver transplant because of the size or location of their tumors became eligible after histotripsy.
Wow.
And this has been recognized nationally. The United Network for Organ Sharing, UNOS, now officially lists histotripsy as an acceptable treatment to help patients become eligible for a transplant. It's not just a local fix. It can be a pathway to a whole new future.
So it's not just destroying tumors, it's rewriting the rules of eligibility. It's giving people a second chance. Okay, let's get to what is, for me, the wildest part of this whole deep dive. The part about the immune system, the global impact.
This is where we get into the abscopal effect. The term literally means away from the target.
Away from the target, okay.
It describes this amazing phenomenon where a local treatment, say destroying a tumor in the liver, triggers a systemic, body-wide immune response. And that response causes untreated tumors elsewhere in the body to shrink or even disappear.
The idea that treating tumor A makes an untouched tumor B vanish somewhere else, It sounds like science fiction.
Yeah.
Why does histotripsy seem to trigger this when other methods, like burning a tumor, only do it very rarely?
It all comes down to the nature of the destruction. If you think about it from the immune system's perspective, it's about making the cancer visible. Surgery just removes the evidence entirely.
Right, it's gone.
Gone. And thermal ablation or chemo, they often destroy the cells so completely or kill them so silently that the immune system doesn't really register a major threat.
But the mechanical destruction from the bubble cloud is different.
Exactly. The mechanical shattering from histotripsy is like a controlled explosion. It literally rips the cell membranes apart, and that releases all this vital information, these hidden tumor-specific proteins or antigens that are normally masked inside the cell.
So you're saying the destruction actually turns the tumor into an instruction manual for the immune system.
That is a perfect way to put it. These released antigens are the cancer's unique fingerprint. By suddenly flooding the system with these fingerprints, the immune cells can finally see the cancer's identity, and then they can mount a coordinated body-wide attack against any cell with that same fingerprint, even in some remote, untreated tumor.
So the local treatment basically acts as an in situ vaccine. It vaccinates you against your own cancer.
That's the analogy, and the preclinical evidence is very strong. In rodent studies, researchers only had to destroy about 50 to 75% of a liver tumor. The rat's own immune systems then cleared out the rest.
Wow.
And even more incredible, over 80% of those animals showed no recurrence, no metastasis, and other untreated tumors in their bodies actually shrank.
And are we seeing this in people?
We're starting to. While we need larger trials, there are already human case reports from places like the University of Rochester Medical Center and the Cleveland Clinic, documenting patients where non-targeted tumors got smaller after a liver tumor was treated with histotripsy.
This could mean we're moving from just a local therapy to a global treatment strategy. I read that the co-inventor, Dr. Zhen Zhu, envisions combining this with immunotherapies to amplify that effect, maybe even turn it into a cure.
That is the paradigm shift we are witnessing, using this incredible technology not just to demolish something, but to activate and guide the body's own natural wisdom.
Let's look to the future then. The liver is the starting point, but the research is already expanding. And our sources highlighted some fascinating work on breast cancer, which I know is a huge focus for groups like the Moyo Institute.
It's a very significant expansion. A groundbreaking study in the journal Cancers, set for January 2025, looked at this immune activation potential in breast cancer. And the findings show that histotripsy triggers a significant release of the HER2 tumor antigen.
And HER2 is a really well-known target in many aggressive breast cancers. Why is releasing that specific antigen so important?
Because they found a clear dose-response relationship. The higher the histotripsy dose, the more HER2 was released.
I see.
This gives us a strong, measurable pathway for activating an immune response specifically against HER2 positive cancers all over the body, not just at the original site.
What's also really interesting, especially for patients, is the aesthetic benefit. When you're destroying tissue in the breast, there's always a worry about scarring or disfigurement, especially with heat.
That's another major advantage here. Because the destruction is mechanical, it creates these incredibly sharp, clean boundaries between the treated area and the healthy surrounding tissue. Compared to heat-based therapies that can leave these fuzzy, damaged edges, this precision promises much better cosmetic outcomes. It's a huge deal for quality of life.
So where else is this sonic sculptor headed? What other trials are happening?
The momentum is really building. The hashtag Hope Before Kidney trial for kidney cancer is already done, and they're just awaiting FDA approval now. And in Europe, the Gannon trial, which is focused on pancreatic cancer, started in Barcelona in late 2024.
And what else is on the horizon?
Prostate cancer and sarcomas, those are the rare connective tissue cancers, are being actively investigated. We expect to see clinical trials for prostate cancer starting before the end of 2025.
Wow.
And it even goes beyond cancer. Researchers are looking at it for things like aortic stenosis and even benign prostatic hyperplasia, an enlarged prostate. Basically, if you can see a tumor or an abnormality clearly with an ultrasound, you could potentially treat it.
That is a staggering vision for the future of medicine. This deep dive has really shown that histotripsy is this major step forward, aligning incredible technology, non-invasive sound with the body's own deep intelligence, that abscopal effects.
And it really highlights that holistic view you see from groups like the Moyo Institute. The technology is an amazing tool, but supporting your body, nourishing your immune system, honoring the emotional healing process, that can only enhance the outcome.
Well, we hope this gives you a real message of hope and curiosity. If you think histotripsy might be an option for you or someone you love, the first step is always talking with an oncologist.
Absolutely. And you should also contact a histotripsy treatment center directly, ask about eligibility, and importantly, ask about insurance. The good news is that Medicare and many private insurers are already starting to establish reimbursement pathways, which is always a huge hurdle for new tech.
So here's the final thought this deep dive leaves me with. Histotripsy is delivered like a high-tech demolition tool, but maybe its true power is as an information release system. By just unmasking the tumor's identity, we let the body learn how to cure itself. And that possibility just fundamentally redefines technology's role in cancer care. Are we looking at a future where sound waves could be the ultimate personalized cancer vaccine? Something to really think about.
What a profound conversation we've just shared. I hope you're feeling as inspired and hopeful as I am right now. Let's take a moment to reflect on the key insights we've explored today. We've learned that histotripsy is a truly non-invasive treatment using focused ultrasound waves to create tiny bubble clouds that mechanically break apart cancer cells, all without a single incision, without radiation, and without the harsh side effects of traditional treatments. Patients typically go home the same day. We've discovered that clinical trials have shown remarkable results, a 95.5% technical success rate, and a 90% tumor control at 12 months. These aren't just statistics. They represent real people being given real hope. And perhaps most beautifully, we explored the abscopal effect, the phenomena where treating one tumor can awaken the body's immune system to recognize and fight cancer throughout the entire body. It's a powerful reminder that our bodies possess innate healing wisdom, and sometimes the right technology can help activate that wisdom. We've also learned about the exciting research happening at the University of Michigan, where scientists are investigating histotripsy for breast cancer, showing how this treatment releases tumor antigens that could help the immune system target cancer more effectively. And we've touched on the fact that this treatment is currently FDA approved for liver tumors, with clinical trials underway for kidney and pancreatic cancers and research exploring applications for breast cancer and other conditions. This is medicine that honors both innovation and the body's intelligence. It's a treatment that destroys cancer while potentially strengthening our natural defenses. That's the best kind of healing. And that's the kind of healing approach we celebrate here at Moyo Institute. Now, I know some of you listening might be thinking, this sounds amazing, but how is it different from radiation? And where can I actually access the treatment? Those are exactly the questions we're going to answer in part 2 of this special episode, which will air in just a few days. In our next segment, we'll explore the key differences between histotripsy and radiation therapy, why the non-thermal mechanical approach matters, and what that means for our healthy tissue and recovery. And we'll provide specific information about hospitals offering histotripsy, including several right here in California, so you and your loved ones know exactly where to turn if this treatment might be right for you. Until then, I encourage you to sit with this information. If you're navigating a cancer journey or supporting someone who is, know that new doors are opening. Share this episode with your healthcare team, with your loved ones, and with anyone who might benefit from knowing that hope continues to evolve. Remember, healing isn't just about treating disease. It's also about honoring the whole person, supporting the body's wisdom, and staying open to the possibilities that emerge when we combine compassion with innovation. Thank you for being a part of this Love Letters to Our Bodies community. Your presence, your courage, and your openness to exploring new pathways to healing inspire me every single day. I'm Gwendolyn Mitchell. I'll be back with you in a few days for part 2 of our Histotripsy conversation. Until then, take good care of yourselves, honor your bodies, and remember, you are loved, you are supported, and there's always hope. Be well, beautiful souls. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening to Love Letters to Our Bodies, conversations on health, healing, and happiness. To find out more about the Love Letters to Our Bodies project, visit our website at moyoinstitute.org. That's MOYO Institute.org. Follow us on social media and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. If there are topics you'd like for us to discuss, let us know. Remember, your body is beautiful, girlfriend. Love it.